The cafeteria was a mosaic of sound and scent, a cross-cultural buffet where languages collided and interstellar spices danced in the recycled air. Fluorescent lights hummed above, casting a sterile glow on the metallic furniture of the New Earth Intergalactic Embassy. It wasn't glamorous, but it was the heart of something new, something that had never existed before. Peace, coexistence, curiosity. Nathan leaned casually against a steel column, arms crossed over his chest as he observed the alien across the room. Her name was Isni, and she was impossible to ignore, green skin like jade glass, smooth and luminescent. Her hair was white as starlight, tied back in a tight twist that revealed delicately pointed ears and high cheekbones. She wore a dark leather-like suit that shifted slightly with her movement, the texture suggesting something organic, yet grown to fit her shape perfectly. Her eyes, large and silver-flecked, blinked slowly at the tray of unfamiliar food in front of her. She looked almost offended by the pile of fried chicken and crinkle-cut fries on her plate. Nathan couldn't help himself. He pushed off the pillar and walked toward her. "You're staring at it like it insulted your ancestors," he said, stopping beside her table. Isni blinked up at him, her translator bracelet softly glowing blue as it processed his Earth English. Then her mouth twitched, not quite a smile, but not a smile. "It smells aggressive," she replied. "Are all your food items coated in powdered combustion?" He laughed, sliding into the seat across from her. "Only the good ones." She lifted one of the chicken wings, studying it like an artifact. "And the purpose of the bone?" "Flavor. And the illusion of danger." Isni tilted her head, clearly unimpressed. "Your species is peculiar." "Thanks," he said, grinning. "I try." She took a tentative bite and immediately coughed, her cheeks flushing a soft, silvery pink. Nathan jumped up, grabbing a glass of water and offering it quickly. "You okay?" She waved him off, coughing into her elbow while trying to maintain composure. "I'm fine. I wasn't expecting it to attack my soul." Nathan chuckled, eyes dancing. "Welcome to spicy food. It's a rite of passage here." "First time's always the worst." Isni took a sip of water, her eyes watering slightly. "It is surprisingly delicious." "Told you?" They sat in a brief silence, the sounds of the cafeteria continuing around them. Isni looked at him over the rim of her glass, her voice softer now. "You don't act like the others." "The other humans?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. She nodded. "The ones who look at me like I'm exotic or dangerous." "You speak like you've already decided what I am." "I have," he said, leaning forward slightly. "You're someone who hasn't had enough chicken in their life." The corner of her lip twitched again. Then he added, "Also someone I'd like to take out. Properly. Maybe somewhere with less spice and more stars." That was when it happened. Her eyes widened. She inhaled sharply and choked again, this time more out of shock than spice. She coughed once, then twice, slapping the table and gasping. Nathan moved without thinking, rounding the table and patting her gently on the back. Hey, breathe. I didn't mean to break you." Isni waved her hand in protest, managing to recover as the moment passed. Her cheeks were now visibly flushed, a deeper, shimmering shade of green-pink. She turned, her face slightly, clearly trying to hide it. Nathan lowered his voice. "Was it what I said?" She didn't answer immediately. Then finally, "You want to court me?" He paused, then grinned. "Well, I wouldn't call it that. On Earth, we usually call it a date. You know, talk, eat, stare awkwardly. At the stars. No pressure." She looked down at her tray. "We are genetically incompatible, biologically distinct, and culturally divergent." "Yeah," he said. "That's the fun part." Isni didn't laugh, but she didn't look away either. Instead, she reached for another piece of chicken. That was either the boldest threat or the most confusing proposal I've ever received, she said. Nathan sat back down, smiling. Why not both? The cafeteria lights dimmed slightly as the artificial evening cycle began, bathing the room in a warmer hue. Around them, aliens and humans alike continued their quiet conversations, unaware that something new had just sparked at a tiny chrome table between fried food and awkward confessions. Nathan picked up a fry and popped it in his mouth. So, he said casually, was that a no, a maybe, or a choke me again sometime? Isni rolled her eyes, but there was a glimmer in them now, a sparkle of something dangerous and curious. Maybe, she said at last. Nathan grinned. I'll take it. She studied him for a long time after that. Longer than most would have dared. Humans were so expressive, so loud in their energy, but Nathan, he was grounded, steady. There was a calmness to his flirtation, not like the others who sought conquest in novelty. He genuinely looked at her, not through her, not around her, at her, and somehow, that made her nervous. Villari weren't supposed to feel nervous. She bit into another wing. Later that night, alone in her dorm pod, Isni stared at her reflection in the mirror. She pressed her fingertips to her cheeks. They still glowed faintly with the hue of embarrassment, or maybe something else. She didn't know which was more terrifying, the flavor of the spice, or the proposition that had followed. She'd been sent here to study humans, understand their history, learn from their cultures, report back to the high table of Valaris. She wasn't supposed to like them, especially not one like him. She touched her bracelet, the soft metal pulsing with a memory. Talk. Eat, stare at stars. Humans were so strange. But this one? This one was trouble, and she wasn't sure she minded. Nathan, meanwhile, walked the embassy corridor with a bounce in his step. He hadn't expected to ask her out. It had just come out, like breathing. He wasn't some smooth-talking interstellar Romeo. But something about Isni pulled honesty from him. Like gravity. He liked that she challenged him, that she didn't laugh when he tried to be charming, that she made every silence feel like a puzzle to be solved. He reached the glass wall overlooking Earth's sprawling city, glittering under artificial stars. Somewhere behind him, an alien girl was probably still trying to understand what the hell he meant, and he couldn't wait to explain it to her, with real stars next time, and maybe less hot sauce, or not. Because if she could survive, spice maybe, just maybe, she could survive love too, and that was a taste worth chasing. It had been 3 days since Nathan's proposition. 3 days of awkward glances in the embassy corridors, polite nods across briefing rooms, and a whole galaxy of unspoken tension in the elevator ride they accidentally shared. Every time Nathan looked her way, Isni felt it, that strange fluttering in her chest, like tiny electric wings sparking behind her ribs. Villari did not flirt. They negotiated. Courting rituals on her homeworld involved intellectual challenges, shared data exchanges, and ceremonial silence under tri-suns. But Earth had chicken wings, jokes with double meanings, and a Nathan who smiled like gravity, had finally decided to pull her down. Tonight, she was waiting. Embassy protocol allowed off-site excursions with a human escort, and Nathan had filed the form 30 seconds after she said, maybe. Now they were scheduled for a night out in District 9, a part of New York filled with human cafes, open sky domes, and atmospheric bubbles that let non-Earth species breathe and roam freely. Isni stood outside the port gate, wearing something less formal than usual. Her tight-fitting diplomatic armor was replaced by a flowing tunic made of soft, translucent fibers that shifted with her movement. The light from the overhead biodomes shimmered across her skin like waves. Her silver hair was braided down one side, a soft curl escaping near her jaw. Nathan was already waiting. He leaned against the rail, arms folded again, wearing a fitted jacket and boots that made him look more like an action movie star than a linguist. When he saw her, his eyes widened slightly. "You look different," he said, not bothering to mask the admiration. Isni raised an eyebrow. "Different? In a good way," he clarified. "In a very, please don't turn around and leave kind of way." She allowed the smallest curve of her lips. "You speak in riddles." "Only when I'm nervous." "Why would you be nervous?" He scratched the back of his neck. "Because the last time we ate together, you almost died choking." "I did not die. Yet." Her eyes sparkled with mischief now. "And you still invited me again?" Nathan stepped closer. "That's either bravery or really bad judgment." She tilted her head. "Or maybe curiosity." They walked side by side down the shining corridor toward the transit terminal. Artificial stars shimmered above them, creating the illusion of a night sky. For a few moments, they didn't speak, and that was fine. Nathan had always assumed aliens would feel distant, like puzzles to be deciphered. But walking beside Isni felt surprisingly natural, like finding a song you didn't realize you knew all the words to. They reached the open dome platform overlooking the city. Beyond the clear curvature of the dome ceiling, Earth spread out in glittering lines and clusters. Hover cars buzzed past. Soft music drifted in from a live performance nearby. Lantern drones floated above the walkways, casting a warm glow across the streets. Isni paused to look up. "I've studied images of Earth skies for years," she murmured. "But I never imagined they'd feel so close." Nathan looked at her, not the sky. "They're even better when you have someone to watch them with." She turned slowly. "You continue to say dangerous things, and you keep showing up," he replied. That earned a laugh, short, surprised and breathless. She wasn't used to laughing. Valari humor was dry, calculated. But Nathan's words cracked through her defenses like sunlight breaking through frost. They entered a quiet cafe nestled in an alcove of trees. Real, living trees. It smelled like cinnamon and rain. The human waitress gave them a curious glance, but said nothing. Isni sat across from Nathan, her long fingers delicately tracing the rim of her glass. He ordered them both a local special, vanilla tea with honey and small pastries made from earth grains. Isni sipped carefully. Her eyes widened. "This is delightful. Told you humans do some things right." She took another sip. "Your species is impulsive, emotional, terribly disorganized, but your food, your music, your feelings, they're intoxicating." Nathan leaned in. "So you do like feelings." "I didn't say that. You didn't not say it." Isni smirked. "You twist language like a Valari diplomat." He shrugged. "Guess I'm learning from the best." They ate in peace for a while. Then out of nowhere, Nathan's voice dropped to a more serious tone. "Why Earth?" he asked. "Out. Of all the planets Valari could have sent a diplomat to. Why here?" Isni hesitated. "I wasn't sent." Nathan blinked. "Wait. What?" She set her cup down, fingers trembling slightly. "I volunteered. Against the advice of the council. My partner died during a mission to one of your colonies. He believed humans had the potential to be more than what we saw. To grow. To love. To protect." "I'm sorry," Nathan said softly. She looked away. "I didn't come here for politics, Nathan. I came here to understand why he died believing in you." He was quiet for a long moment. "And have you found an answer yet?" She looked at him again. Really looked. And when she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. "Maybe I'm starting to." The air between them shifted. Suddenly the quiet wasn't just quiet. It was electric. Nathan reached across the table slowly, giving her time to pull away. But she didn't. Their fingers brushed. She was warm, soft, and trembling. "This is new to me," she admitted. "Terrifying, even." "Same," he replied. "But I'd rather be terrified with you than comfortable with anyone else." She laughed again, this time longer. "You are very bad at courtship rituals. I'm also not choking you this time, so... Progress." She nodded, a smile lingering on her lips. Progress. They finished their tea, and Nathan suggested a walk through the sky garden just above the cafe. Floating platforms of bioluminescent flowers hovered around them, petals glowing in soft blues and purples. Isni paused to touch one. The flower shimmered under her fingers. Nathan stood beside her. "You know, you never gave me a real answer." "About what?" "About the date. Is this a yes?" She turned to him, their faces inches apart. Her voice was soft. "This is a beginning." And then, without warning, she leaned forward and kissed his cheek. A soft touch. A Valari gesture of affection, subtle and reverent. His eyes widened, her cheeks glowed brighter than ever before. Nathan didn't say anything. He didn't need to. His smile said everything. As the sky garden floated silently around them, two figures, one human, one alien, stood together beneath a universe that had suddenly become much smaller. 3 weeks had passed since Isni kissed Nathan on the cheek in the sky garden. 3 weeks of shared breakfasts and long, wordless walks through the biodomes. 3 weeks of gentle teasing and lingering glances that said more than words ever could. Nathan didn't rush her. He didn't push, didn't pressure. Instead, he gave her space to bloom. Like one of the floating flowers she loved so much, and she was blooming. Isni had grown more expressive, more open, though still reserved in the quiet, dignified way of her people. Her laughter was rare but genuine, and her eyes lit up when Nathan entered a room. She learned Earth idioms, watched old romantic dramas, and even tried pizza, though she swore it was aggressively chaotic. They were something now. Not quite lovers. Not quite just friends. Something hovering in between, like a starship between galaxies, pulled by two gravities, neither one letting go. But space, even emotional space, does not stay quiet for long. It started with a transmission, encrypted, urgent, marked with the Valari high-priority crest. Nathan was with her in the embassy lounge when it arrived. The room was dim, filtered starlight streaming through the glass walls. Isni's fingers hovered above the console, her face suddenly unreadable. "Is it from your council?" Nathan asked gently. She nodded. "Yes, I'm not sure what they want." "Then open it," he said. "Whatever it is, you don't have to face it alone." She hesitated. Then, with a breath, she tapped the console. A hologram shimmered into existence, a tall, imposing Valari figure, Ambassador Corial, one of the elders. His voice was calm, but with an edge of steel. "Isni, of House Virith, the Council summons you back to Valari Prime. Your continued presence on Earth has raised concerns. Intelligence suggests emotional compromise. You are instructed to return within 3 solar rotations to present yourself for review." The message ended. Silence flooded the room. Nathan sat back, stunned. "They're recalling you." Isni stood still, hands clenched. "It's worse than that." The phrase emotional compromise. It's their way of saying I've become unfit. Because of me. She looked at him. Her voice was soft. "Because I let myself care." Nathan swallowed. "So what happens if you go back?" "A review, interrogation, memory scans. They'll tear through every moment I've spent here, every conversation, every thought about you." He stepped forward, heart pounding. Then don't go. I have to. Why? Isni, you have choices. No, she said, voice cracking. You don't understand. On Valari, emotion is treated like a malfunction, especially in diplomats. If I resist, they'll assume guilt. If I run, I'll be exiled. I'll never see my people again. Nathan felt his fists curl. Then I'll go with you. Isni turned sharply. What? To Valari. With you. Maybe if I speak. No. Her voice trembled. They'll see you as the infection. Your presence will only confirm their worst fears. They'll tear us apart faster. Nathan moved closer. So that's it? After everything? We pretend none of this happened? She looked up at him, eyes shining with something fierce and broken. I wish I had met you on any other world. He reached for her hand. But we did meet here, and it meant something. She nodded slowly. More than I expected. More than I was ready for. Nathan's voice softened. Then fight for it. That night, she didn't sleep. Neither did he. They met again just before sunrise, in the observation dome. Stars still filled the sky, though the horizon had begun to blush with light. She stood by the window, dressed in ceremonial silver robes, hair woven into the traditional braid of duty. Nathan approached silently. You look like you're already gone, he said. I feel like I am. They stood in silence. Then she turned to him. I made a decision. Nathan's heart skipped. Yeah. I'll go back. But not alone. I'll take everything I've learned here. I'll speak for Earth. I'll speak for us. And if they punish you, Isni stepped close. Then I want my last memory of freedom to be this. And then she kissed him. Not on the cheek this time. Not softly. Her lips met his with a desperate tenderness. Her hands tangled in his jacket. Her body trembling against his. Nathan pulled her closer, every barrier between them collapsing like dust in solar wind. When they pulled away, both breathless, she whispered, I don't regret any of this. Neither do I, he said. She stepped back. Promise me something? Anything. Don't forget me. Nathan took her hand, pressed it to his chest. That's impossible. Later she left. The Valari ship rose through the clouds, silver and silent, like a ghost slipping through dawn. Nathan stood on the platform long after it disappeared, and for the first time in years he felt truly alone. 3 months. That's how long Nathan had gone without hearing from Isni. The embassy was quiet. Her chambers sealed. Her ship gone. The Valari Council had sent a formal statement. Ambassador Isni Virith has returned to Valari Prime to face internal diplomatic evaluation. We ask for privacy during this transition. But Nathan didn't want privacy. He wanted her back. He still remembered the way she tasted the first earth-fried chicken with cautious wonder. The way her laugh cracked the silence like sunlight on ice. The way her lips had trembled against his that final morning, as if she were kissing a goodbye she hadn't accepted yet. The emptiness burned deeper every day. Until the message came. Secret Valari glyph flickered across his personal console, disguised within a weather report. The encryption was unmistakable. It was from her, 2 lines only. They are watching everything. But I remember what you said. If I make it through, I'll come back. If I don't, know that I chose you. Nathan stared at the words until they blurred. He had to do something. Waiting wasn't love, action was. And so, against protocol, logic, and every warning from the Earth Diplomatic Corps, Nathan broke into the restricted comms net and sent a pulse directly toward Valari Prime. A signal, just 2 coordinates. Location in Earth's orbit where his ship would wait. And a time. If she could escape, if she was still herself, she would come. He waited. Hours turned into a full cycle, then another, until, against all odds, a Valari stealth pod blinked into orbit, faint, fragile, like a candle flame against the void. He docked with it immediately, and when the hatch opened, he saw her, Esni, hair unbraided, armor cracked. Her skin had faded slightly, but her eyes were brighter than he'd ever seen. "Nathan!" she gasped. He ran to her, caught her before she collapsed. She clutched him like she was afraid he'd disappear. "They wanted to recondition me, strip away the memories. I escaped through a maintenance tunnel and—" "You don't need to explain," he whispered, holding her tighter. "You came back. That's all that matters." But their reunion would be short-lived. The Valari Council had noticed her escape, and they were angry. 2 warships shimmered into Earth's near orbit, an unmistakable act of aggression. Within hours, alarms blared across every United Earth station. War was brewing, but Nathan had a plan. He and Isni stood before the United Earth Council and proposed the unthinkable, a direct broadcast to the Valari people, bypassing the elders, exposing the truth about Isni's exile and their love. At first, Earth's leaders refused. Too dangerous, too reckless. But Isni stepped forward. "If you ask humans to show courage, let us show it too." Moved by her bravery, they agreed. A galactic transmission began. Nathan and Isni stood together, hand in hand, on the bridge of the Earth-Valari relay. Isni's voice filled the stars. "To my people, I was told love is a weakness. That emotion is chaos. But I met a human, and he taught me that feeling is not failure. It is strength. It is purpose. And it is freedom." Her image was broadcast across the Valari homeworld. There was silence. Then something unprecedented happened. A response. Valari. Civilians, thousands of them, began sending messages. One said, "I remember feeling. I want it back." Another, "Let her speak. Let us choose." The council couldn't silence the entire planet. Under pressure, the elders relented. Isni was not recalled again. The charges were dropped, and just like that, the chain shattered. Isni was free. She chose Earth. Chose him. Nathan and Isni stood beneath the twin moons on the orbital garden ring, watching the stars align in a rare convergence known as the glass bloom, a symbol of unity in many alien cultures. He turned to her. "You ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't choked on fried chicken that day?" Isni laughed softly. "Then I might have never turned so red. You were green." "Valari don't blush like humans," she said, leaning into him. "But that day, I think I did." Nathan smiled. "So, are we official now, or still? Awkward co-workers?" "I'd say we're past co-workers." He leaned closer, their foreheads touching. "What are we then?" Her answer was simple. Home. And then she kissed him. Not a kiss of farewell this time. Not of desperation or urgency. This kiss was quiet, deep, and full of promise. In that moment, under the starlight, with 2 worlds, watching, an alien girl and a human man chose love over fear. Not because it was easy, but because it was worth everything. And for the first time in Valari history, emotion became evolution. The end.